Hi guys, welcome back to Com 1108. This is Miss Farah over here. Thank you so much for coming and tuning into our class for today. Before I get started with the recording for today, I just would like to apologize for not being able to join you guys on a live session. However, deep down, I know that you guys are, low key enjoying this. So I'm preparing this recording just so that you guys can occupy your time during our live session class. So you have 1 week for you to watch this recording and also to complete one simple Blackboard task based on my lecture for today. I'm also hoping that you guys will use the time today to actually prepare and do your recording for your second presentation that will be due that is due this coming Sunday. So please take this time today to actually do that. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming and listening to this recording. Again, it means a lot to me that you guys are here and together listening to me speaking here today. All right, guys. Welcome back to Combo 108. It's me again, Miss Farah over here. And what we are going to do in this recording, first of all, I would like to recap very shortly on what we have learned in our class before. That is a special technique when you are doing persuasive speech that we call as Monroe motivated sequence. And today we also will be introduced to a new term that will be very much crucial for your third presentation. That is your final presentation. All right. So if you guys can hear my voice is slowly um, you guys cannot hear me very well, and I do sound weird because I'm not feeling very well. So I apologize for that. Now, in our lesson for today, these two concepts will be used in your third presentation, and we are going to talk about Monroe motivated sequence and linking it to a new theme for your final group presentation, that is social business. And I will be introducing everyone here with the term of social business. And we are going to, by and large, use a lot of this in our class. And I'm hoping that by introducing everyone here to social business, you guys can eventually try and create one social business idea that will be used in your third presentation. Let's get started. So I understand that we are currently doing a recording and it's very hard for you to respond to me to recap on what you guys have learned in previous class. So what I want you guys to do now is I want you to pause this video right now, and I want you to do this honestly. Pause this video and try to open your book in front of you and try to jot down a little bit on what you guys have learned in our class for today. Before, sorry. And you guys should know this already by now because I've been discussed or I talk about what we have learned in our class in the slide before. That is on Monroe motivated sequence. And what I want you guys to do is before you pause this video, very obviously I want you to take out a piece of paper, or if you have a book in front of you, I want you guys to remember the acronym that I teach you guys when we learn on Monroe Motivated Sequence. And if you can you list out the acronym and what are the things that you have to do in each one of the stage of the Monroe Motivated Sequence? Okay, so please pause this video. I'm just gonna continue teaching. But after you're done answering it, try to check your answer, in which I will be explained in a bit. Okay? All right. So I assume that you guys have done your recap by yourself. And let's talk about Monroe motivated sequence now. We discussed on Monroe motivated sequence, and I told you an acronym, or I thought you guys an acronym when you want to remember on Monroe motivated sequence. Excuse me. And the clue is answer. So in monomotivated sequence, which will be used in persuasive speech, in which you guys have to do in your final group presentation, You need to use Monroe motivated sequence because essentially, first of all, you need to create one social business idea. Then you need to pitch your idea in a form of persuasive speech in front of a group of specific people, right? So when you're doing the presentation, there is a certain sequence that you have to follow, and the sequence is answer. So if you guys can remember what each one of these mean, okay, that will be wonderful. A is for attention, N is for need, S is for satisfaction, V for visualization, very good, and finally A is for action. Now, what it basically means is that in your third presentation, I'm expecting to see this flow in your group presentation. All right. So, what does each one of these sequence mean, and what do you have to do during the sequence itself? So, for attention, what you need to do in the introduction is to gain your audience attention. And we have discussed on different techniques that we can actually use when we want to grab our audience attention. If you can remember on the 7 techniques that I taught you guys before, and also a lot of things that we have been practicing in class, you guys can use it in this introduction or the first step, that is the attention here. Moving forward now, now that you guys have got your audience attention, then you need to give them the problem. You need to tell them what exactly is the problem that you can observe, and you need to make sure that the audience feel the same way as you did, and how big of a problem this is. You guys need to convince your audience and tell them there is a need for us to change on the problem. So that is basically the whole point of need in here. The next one is on satisfaction. So, when it comes to satisfaction, this is where after you have given them or show them there is a problem and we all can help to overcome this problem, you then need to come with a solution. Now, this is where your social business solution will be filling in and telling them, okay, we have found a solution for you guys, and this is our solution. All right. And then the next one is on visualization. For visualization here, you need to tell them why this is the best solution that you can have. And later we will be learning more about creating prototype that will help your audience to be visualized and to understand, all right, the solutions that you guys are creating. Finally, in your conclusion, this is where you close your presentation by calling for an action. Now, we have discussed on call for an action as a closing technique before. If you guys have forgotten about it, please go back to the recording. Have a look at the sample that I gave. I think I also gave the video and link it in the Blackboard. Please go out and check on call for an action in the closing. Okay. Basically, call for an action in the conclusion is where you ask your audience to commit to what you have presented on. Call of an action is one of the very, very best way for you to close your presentation, because just by informing them on the problems that we have in the world and telling them we do have a solution, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that they will eventually do something about it. But if you create a short activity with your audience, asking them to commit to your solution, that will eventually help to ease a little bit of your burden, to see that probably this person will eventually do something about it. Okay, so that is on call for an action. Basically, if I can recap a little bit on what we have learned on persuasive speech, is that persuasive speech, if you were to compare it with informative speech, is a different kind of technique because it involves you trying to persuade, trying to make sure that people can accept your solution, and they can even try to adopt try to act to what you have proposed. That is why persuasive speech is very, very tricky, and I must say that not a lot of speakers are able to do it. But don't worry, because when it comes to persuasive speech, we have seen a lot of people using persuasive speech. You can see people who are, selling products at the pharmacy. You can see people selling products at the local grocery store, and many, many people on the Instagram, they are all using the power of persuasion. So actually, persuasive is actually very evident in our daily life, so you don't really have to worry whether or not you are able to do it. The next point that I would write to uh, remind everyone here, that when you want to persuade people on doing something, it's very important for you to understand what their attitudes towards your topic. What is their position? Do they mostly agree or disagree on the topic that you are discussing? And it's very important for you as the speaker to tailor your message according to their values, according to their attitudes, and also according to their beliefs. And that is how you can make your persuasive speech more successful. All right. So if you guys can, if, let's say, for example, if you just bluntly come into a speech without knowing your audience perception towards the topic, and what if they disagree with you, how would you react? So that will be one of the biggest things that we don't want to do. And you can see that a lot of people who went viral online is because of this, because they do not tailor the message according to the listeners' values and attitudes. And when people clash on their attitudes and belief, it makes people hate them. Okay. Excuse me. It's also important for us to use a lot of ethical methods when we are persuading your audience. This includes to be truthful and honest with the facts and statistics that you projected when you are doing persuasive speech. Just because you disagree with the topic does not mean that you can simply create a fact, or change a few facts. Okay, so all of your facts and all of your research has to be correct and has to be validated. So that is one of the few ethical things that we need to remember when we are doing persuasive speech. If you have forgotten what are some of the ethical things that we have to do when we're doing a speech, please go back to the recording in our previous class where I have discussed on it. Um, and essentially, there are three different types of persuasive speeches, which are question of fact, question of value, and also question of policy. So I know that a lot of us are still working on your second presentation, but I would like to make an early start to your final presentation, that is the group presentation. Now, in this particular group presentation, what you guys need to do is that you need to create a product or a social business product, and you need to pitch your idea in front one out of the three groups here. So you have to choose your target audience depending on your business idea. Okay, there are people who could be the user of your uh, product, so you might want to tally and choose your target audience as them. But the easiest one is actually just to pitch your idea in front of a group of investors. All right, so because the nature of this assignment is for you to create a social business idea, you can ask or you can pitch your idea in front of a group of investors who are between 40 to 60 years old. Now, the reason why we ask you guys to choose one out of these three different groups, this is because we want you guys, or we want to challenge you guys to tally your presentation and to change the way that you speak, the content of your presentation to accommodate to one out of these groups. Okay, because obviously if you're speaking in front of high school students, a group of high school students, the language that you use will be very much different from when you're speaking in front of professional parents. All right, the example that you give will be different, so it's very crucial for you to choose the best target audience or the best group that you want to pitch in front of. Obviously, you don't have to pitch this for real, but you have to indicate to us that you are telling your language and your speech to the group of people that you have chosen. Okay? As I mentioned, you guys will eventually use the Monroe motivated sequence in your speech, and what you have to create again is one specific concept that we call as social business. Now, we all might have heard about traditional business where transaction happen almost every time, and when we talk about business, it's not a foreign word. We all can understand many things when we talk about business. When you buy a pen, this is business. You buy cups, these are also business. We are living in a world of consumerism where we consistently buying things, and that is how markets and economy grow because of businesses. All right, but in today's world there is a new emerging trend in the world of business that we call as social business, and this is something that is very interesting because people these days are mostly much more open to a lot of humanitarian things because most of us are able to live a much more comfortable life as compared to people in the past. So when we have all of our basic needs covered, we tend to be able to help other people as well, which is actually a good thing. And this is how social business emerge in. And we can see that in academic perspective, we can see that social business is growing day by day, and probably in 3 4 more years social business will be the next trend. Okay, what exactly is social business? So basically, social business is a type of business model that doesn't just focus on getting enough profit, maximizing profit, but rather we look at the needs of the people in a community. So while you are doing business, at the same time you are also trying to solve a problem in the community. That sounds very hard, isn't it? But I will try my best to give an example to you guys so that you can understand on the concept of social business. And again, social business is actually a very interesting concept, and this is something that I feel could benefit a lot of people in future. So I think that I'm 100% all in for social business, and there's a lot of potential in social business, and we can see that this is becoming such a huge trend. All right, so before I forgot, social business is actually a term that was introduced by one of the Nobel Prize winner from Bangladesh called Professor Muhammad Yunus, and he was the one who invented this notion of social business where he focuses on helping the local community, but at the same time generating money as well. So you're not exactly just helping them because you still got a lot of money out of it. Okay, what Professor Muhammad Yunus did was, he introduced microloans. Okay, he introduced microloans to small businesses in Bangladesh for them to start business. So he has this bank called Grameen Bank, and it's basically trying to help many business owners in Bangladesh who would like to do loans for their product or for their businesses, okay, which a lot of banks do not approve, okay, but they are still taking some profit out of it, but definitely there are some uh, perks to it, such as there are some grace period of time where you don't exactly have to pay mm, immediately after a certain period of time. So we are also looking at the growth of the business itself as well. Okay, so this is also called as a micro loans or micro credit or Grameen credit. And surprisingly, I think I heard like a few banks in Malaysia that has started to develop or adopting this concept of microloans. If I'm not mistaken, HSBC or something. But there are some local, banks in Malaysia that uh, have been trying to adopt the same concept here into their business. And I think that this is actually a very, very good um, alternative for many, many social entrepreneurs out there that might not have enough, uh, you know, uh, trying to get loans from banks, basically. Okay, another social business entrepreneur that not a lot of people know is Jack Ma. So sorry, Jack Ma. So Jack Ma was the owner of Alibaba before. Okay, I heard that he resigned or something from being the CEO, but Jack Ma started off not as a social business owner, but rather when he started to gain popularity from his business through Alibaba, what he did was he realized one of his social pressing needs. So he believed that in his community, there is a huge demand on shark fin industry, and he doesn't think that this is a good thing, and this is his basically his this is something that he stands for, to go against the shark fishing fin industry. So what he did was he banned any kind of products that relates to shark fin industry in his business. So just by doing the small change there, and rather than just focusing on maximizing profit, because I believe that if he were to agree to have this to be sold in his company, definitely he will gain a lot more money, right? But rather than looking at the profit, he believes in something that is important for him, and he used to adapt it. So Jack Ma is also a social entrepreneur or social business owner, although not like hardcore, but he does do that in his business. Okay, so in short, probably a lot of us know a lot of social business owners. It's just that we probably didn't know that that exactly is social business. And in a bit, I'm going to show you guys an example of social business so that we all can further understand about social business. Okay, so, social business, again, we don't focus on maximizing profit, but it's important for us to remember that in social business, we're still looking for profit. It's not just, you know, charity. That is one thing that we have to understand. Social business is not a charity. You need to maximize the profit. But at the same time, you are also trying to help humanity and trying to help the local community. That is something that we have to remember about social business. And many people, many students ask me to explain on the difference between traditional business or the known business that we always do with social business. When it comes to traditional business transaction, a lot of the business owners, they look into maximizing, looking into how we can get more money, right? We want to maximize the revenue, we want to maximize the economy benefits, and for many of the staff and the workers, we are looking at better rewards, more profit. We're looking at better commercial values, better views for, in terms of the product itself. So that would be much more of the goal for traditional business. In comparison, for social business, we are actually using the concept of business to address and to help people in our community to overcome their issue and their pressing needs. At the same time, we are also trying to empower the local community to grow from the problem and actually to become better community from social business. All right, I know that this sounds a little bit more vague and very hard for me to explain, but again, I will be showing you guys some sample in a bit. All right, let's talk about let me show you an example of social business. Okay, let me show you an example of social business.
What's the difference between a social business and traditional business? Like a charity, a social business works to solve a social problem. But like a business, it's also financially sustainable. because all profits are reinvested to help the business grow and benefit society. What is the difference between a social investor and a traditional investor? A traditional investor invests for his own benefit. A social investor invests to benefit others. At Eunice Social Business, we help connect social investors with social businesses for a very special purpose: to address the world's most pressing problems, such as nutrition, energy, environment, education, and health. We do this through social business incubator funds. Our local incubator teams search for and create social business opportunities to help communities in need by developing a social business plan, providing real world business training, and opening doors to useful networks. When these businesses become successful, the social business pays back the initial investment, so the same dollar can be recycled to help more social businesses. Same dollar, new social business. In Haiti, we've invested in a bakery that produces fortified bread for the local community suffering from malnutrition. This bakery has created a social impact at every stage of the value chain by generating demand for the local farmers, creating local employment, and most importantly, producing affordable nutrients so that even the poorest citizens can live healthier lives. Eunice Social Business is driven by enthusiastic, international consulting, finance, and development professionals in countries like Haiti, Albania, Brazil, Tunisia, Togo, and Germany. And we're also expanding to other countries. We are Eunice Social Business, and we are passionate about developing business solutions to solve the world's greatest social problems.
All right, so that is on social business. So I really like the example of the bakery at Haiti because that exactly is the reason why we're doing social business, because we want to overcome the pressing needs of the local community, and we want to empower them by giving them the employment opportunity, help them to solve the problem. At the same time, we also want to gain profit for the betterment of everything. And we can see that this is such a very, very interesting and a very, very highly valued type of business, because we are getting so much things done, and we're not just killing two birds at one stone. I believe that we're killing more than two birds right now. So that is why we need to use social business. Again, using the bakery in Haiti as an example, I believe that this is such a great opportunity to employ and to have social business, because number one, it provides employment. Number two, it improves the quality of living, because the issue over there is malnutrition because they don't have enough food. All right. And the next one, obviously, it solves the problem of social issue. So when people have enough food for them to eat, there won't be any kind of theft, any kind of crimes, because they have enough food. And also the malnutrition, because when it's too expensive, it's very difficult for poor people to actually get the nutrients that they should be getting. And that is how this particular bakery helped to solve the problem. And most importantly, I believe that it was able to empower the local community, which I found was very, very interesting. And to see how much or each one of us are linked to one another, and how we can help each other, how we can be together to actually help everyone in need in the local community. So this is a very, very important um, example here that I wish to tell everyone here. There are few principles of social business. The first one is that um, our objective is definitely to overcome poverty, and we can target on communities that don't have enough food, or probably that is not achieving very much economically. We also need to focus on financial and economic sustainability, which basically means that this is not just 100% charity. We need to get our money back. Okay, for every single thing that we invest in, we need to get profit as well. Now, for number three, this is a bit TMI, but this is just coming from the UNOS social business community, or the them as an organization themselves. They believe that investors will be getting back their investment money. So if you invest 5,000, you will not get more than that because you're helping the local community. So you will get back the money of your investment. So you won't be don't have enough money or something, you will get the money that you invest in. And once the amount is paid back, the profit will be focusing on expansion of the company and also improvement of the product. Number five is on gender sensitive and environmentally conscious. So we need to empower local people, regardless of their gender, to be part of the process, and also environmentally conscious. So basically means that we're using recyclable items. The next one is that because we are also offering jobs and employment for local communities, the workforce will get the money and the wage. This is not a charity, they are actually working. Okay. And finally, Uni Social Business Center believes that everything that you do, you need to do it with joy. All right, so for these seven principles, it's mostly on based on the principles of social business, because they are the one who created the notion of social business. But what we don't really have to employ all of these. There are certain things, especially on the notion that this is not a charity, we need to make sure that we get our money back. That is something that we really want to employ as well. So when you want to think about the kind of social business that you want to create, the products or the business idea that you want to create, all right, you need to choose. Okay, this is one of the ways that I often share with my kids, my students. Think about a problem based on one out of the 17 SDG or Sustainable Developmental Goals. SDG is basically 17 goals that was created by the United Nations, that has been agreed in many many countries, and it's basically just looking at what are the things that we can improve on in our planet. Okay, so what we really need to address is the issue of poverty and also hunger. Some people are still hungry, and good health, well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economical growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequality, sustainable cities and communities, consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and finally, partnership for goals. So, this SDG is just a brainstorming process for you guys when you want to think about problem that exists in the world. So this, by reflecting on this SDG, it can help you guys to think about what is the problem revolving zero hunger in Malaysia. Probably you have been involved in some local charities that help people who are homeless around Kuala Lumpur, and you see that this is a dire need in local communities in Kuala Lumpur, and you want to address this. Okay, so because this you have been involved personally, and you feel like this is something that you really want to tackle on, so you can also address this in your zero hunger. All right, so for this one, I'm not going to talk more about this. What I really want you guys to be thinking about is this. I want you to think about a problem. All right, so think about a problem and how can you generate profit or solution based on the problem, basically. All right, so this table looks very scary, I understand that, but okay. I have given you guys an example here so that you guys can try to work on this. All right, so basically, I want you to think about a problem that you can observe in your daily life. So here, what I can observe around Nilai, that I can see that there are many stray animals around Nilai. This could be cats, this could be dogs, and what they do is that they're trying to fight for food, and I think that is very sad. And I think that when you have these many stray animals, they're probably looking food around the garbage area, and then when they're looking for food, they will eventually affect on the cleanliness of the garbage area because they are, chewing on the food in the plastic bags, and then it's because they are animals, they don't know better, so it would affect on the cleanliness of Nilai area. So I think that there is an issue. So I can observe two problems just from one single thing. So I believe that how I can come up and help out with this one is to create a business idea where I want to provide food and shelter to this animal. But my problem is, what kind of business should I do? So I also see another problem around the Lai area where I can see there are a lot of restaurants around here. But the problem is in the dumpster, I can see that they have food wastage so much. Okay, many, many restaurants around here that just basically throw away their leftover food. I believe that we can still use some part of the food to make pet food. And that is how I am going to sustain my solution, because I want to create food and shelter to these stray animals. So I can create food by using the food wastage. But my problem is, how do I maintain the shelter? Because it's going to take a lot of money, it's going to cost a lot of money. So instead of just making the food for the stray animals, I'm thinking that we can also sell the pet food. All right. So here, this is a social business because it creates business opportunity and you get profit out of it by selling the pet food. And because these, because most of the ingredients are used from leftover food, the cost is not very high. So we can sell this pet food at a cheaper price, so that many more pet owners, they can actually uh, buy this. Okay. So the procedure goes that we are going to local restaurants around the line. We're going to ask them for leftover food, and we are going to segregate and to see which of the leftover food can be used as the ingredient in the pet food. Obviously, we need to do our research on this. Then we are going to make the leftover, sorry, we are going to make the pet food using the leftover food. We still are going to need some extra ingredients, so this might be constitute in the cost itself. Then we are going to packet it and we are going to sell it, sell this pet food at a cheap price, very cheap price. Then we can use some part of the profit to actually build a shelter for the animals and also maintaining the shelter itself. This is definitely a social business as it brings profit, and we believe that this solution will help restaurant to throw away their food, and also definitely going to help the stray animals. We are also going to help the pet owners who probably cannot afford too high cost of pet food. And also we believe that this would also appeal to people who like to contribute in local charities. I think that a lot of people will help out with this one. So we can get some revenue and money by selling the pet food, and also reducing the cost of the food because we are using most of it, we are using leftover food from the restaurant itself. All right, so that is another example of a social business. What I want you guys to do now is I want you to think about one social business. Okay, sorry, you can think about a problem and think about a business opportunity that you can do to help the problem. All right, it doesn't have to be too complicated. In order for everyone here, in order for you guys to take your attendance for today, what you need to do is that uh, you need to go to your blackboard. Right, so you need to go to your blackboard. You need to try to complete this social business idea by filling in this table here. All right. Okay. All right, so I understand that this could be very intimidating. So at least try to complete the first two part here. First one on the problem statement, and number two is on the social business invention. Just these two is enough. The three here is too much for you guys. Okay, we're just going to do the first two only. All right, so please make sure that you complete this before Friday, 11th of March. Thank you guys so much for coming, and I apologize for not being able with you to do the class with you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye. Have a good weekend, and please take care, everyone. See you. Bye bye.